Is Shield Hero Season 2 still hot garbage? This is something that I've been seeing many message me about and talking about in community forums, to on Reddit, to on Twitter, etc. A lot of people are still under the impression that the entirety of Shield Hero Season 2 is in fact completely hot garbage. And so because of that fact, I wanted to kind of talk about that briefly and also talk about episode 9 that came out earlier today. So a few weeks back, if you all recall, I talked about how I was wrong about Shield Hero Season 2, because what I tried to lay out was that when I made my earlier video within Season 2 of Shield Hero around episode 3, I talked about how, like, just Shield Hero in general, like, Season 2 has just been very bad, and kind of the way I made it sound was that the entirety of Season 2 was just outright awful. But obviously episode 5 hit, and then now we're on episode 9, and the episodes have been very consistent, very high quality, and obviously they're not the best. Like, if we were wanting to literally compare it with something like Spy Family this season, or Summertime Rendering, or if we're wanting to compare it with like how the One Piece anime has been, obviously Shield Hero is just a drop in the bucket in comparison to those anime from this season. But that doesn't mean that Shield Hero is outright garbage, because like I said, episode 5 onward has been very, very good. And I mean, I'm just gonna tell you right now, personally, do I think that Shield Hero Season 2 is still hot garbage? No. Do I think it's perfect? No. Do I think that it is the best anime of the season? No. But do I think that it deserves all the hate I've been seeing circling around it for weeks now? I also think no. And in a way, I do think yes as well. And the reason why is because obviously the beginning of Season 2 definitely started off very rough. Like, honestly, as I even said in my own videos, it's like the beginning of Season 2 was just straight up bad. It was. Like, you can't deny it. Like, as a fan, if you're a legitimate fan of Shield Hero, of the light novel, manga, or anime, you cannot deny that the beginning of the anime was in fact really bad. It was. I mean, there was a lot of problems with rushing, skipping, animation quality, the list can go on and on. There is just obvious problems with it. Now, if you had enjoyment with those episodes, there's nothing wrong with that. But the point stands is that the early session of Season 2 definitely turned off a lot of people from wanting to even continue the said anime, and I definitely had obviously a part to play in that with my video on it, and I definitely think a lot of people that only watched that video of me kind of ranting about Shield Hero Season 2, the early section of it, probably don't even know how I probably feel about the later section of Shield Hero Season 2 and how I've actually been really enjoying the anime, like for instance episode 9 that came out earlier today. So let's talk about this, okay? So episode 9 came out today, and overall in terms of quality, story writing, and world building, etc., where the story is going, it's very good. Like, honestly, as I've said many times, and you can look back at my Season 1 reviews, and even some of my Season 2 reviews already, one of my big draws to, Shield Hero is the world building. I love the world building, I love the lore within the story, I like the different shields that Naofumi can, collect. It's really cool. I just like these little small details throughout the story. It's like, I like how the world, can be invaded by others, and other heroes come in, and even though they're supposedly heroes, they're technically villains in another world, trying to bring down another world to save their own. There's a lot of cool things that Shield Hero has thrown in, especially with Season 2. So we cannot deny that Season 2 has brought a lot to the table in terms of quality. Now, here's the thing, okay? Season 2's first act, for instance, episode 1 through episode 4 was very, very rough. And I will say that when a lot of people consider, like, why do I have to sit through 4 episodes of just outright bad to get to some good stuff, I can understand that argument. I really can. But at the same time, if you're someone that has actually watched, let's say, all of Season 1 of Shield Hero, like you sat down and you watched all 20 plus episodes of the original season, then you shouldn't let 4 episodes stop you from continuing to watch an anime that might have brought you some form of entertainment and joy back in like 2018. Like, let's be honest here. Like, I remember everybody was raving and being happy about Shield Hero 4+ years ago. Everybody was excited, myself included. We were like, man, this is a crazy anime, it's so cool, and obviously that overall popularity of Shield Hero has dwindled quite a bit. There is, obviously discussion around Shield Hero in recent weeks, but the thing is most of the discussion that you see on Shield Hero is in the negative light, which is very sad to see. Now, once again, I think that in terms of it being garbage still, I don't think it is. I really don't. And I think that if you're on the fence and you're somehow managed to find your way to my video to actually see if Shield Hero is worth your time, give it a shot. If you finish Season 1, then at least watch season 2. Watch to episode 6, okay? Just episode 6, because it concludes the first arc, okay? It concludes the first arc of season 2, and if you are fine with how episode 5 and 6 are, then I recommend continuing on. But if 5 and 6 still makes you dislike it and you don't care about the story or you don't care about the anime, then obviously just drop it. Just be done with it, or go read the manga, or go read the light novel, one or the other. So just quickly, I wanted to state that before I go any further. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about episode 9 of Shield Hero. So episode 9 of Shield Hero is relatively well-paced, in my personal opinion. I feel like maybe some things could have potentially been cut out from this episode, but overall nothing too dramatic to where I felt like I misunderstood what this episode was trying to do or where the direction of the story is trying to go. The only place I felt like maybe some information could have potentially been cut was definitely with the scene with finding out that, like, the guardian monster or whatever, the world that's kind of like related to the Philo Queen from Naofumi's world with the rabbit guy we saw in this episode. That's the only time I felt like maybe some information might have been rushed a little bit or cut, but besides that, overall, the episode is very well done. For instance, the entire point of this episode, if we're wanting to just get down to the nitty-gritty of it, is about Naofumi trying to figure out where Raftalia is, trying to figure out a way to be able to find her, get back to her, because obviously the warp gate with the hourglass was shut down, so he could no longer use that method to get back to where Raftalia was. So he has to find other means, and so he makes a Shikigami, which is like, one of those talisman spirits that you see throughout many different anime, and it's, a kind of in Japanese culture itself. It's a main thing in Japanese culture, and if you've watched Jujutsu Kaisen, or you know about Jujutsu Kaisen, then you definitely know what, Shikigamis are as well. But anyways, the point is that Naofumi tries to find a way to find Raftalia, and amongst his, search to figure out how he can do that, he comes upon Philo, which is very, very lucky in a lot of sense, because Philo was in a very bad situation. Like, for instance, she was in, obviously, an auction house to be sold as, like, an expensive good, and overall, it was just not a pleasant scene for Philo throughout this entire episode. Thankfully, Naofumi was able to find her and rescue her, but there is a few things we do get from, Philo, and also we get from, Naofumi in this episode with world building and lore. So apparently by switching worlds, Philo's overall race changed, like her monster race changed, which I think that's fascinating. So it's like, you can't be another monster race that technically doesn't exist in that world, like your race will overall change. So I think that's really interesting. I want more details on that, because I think that's a really unique detail, and it can kind of lead to maybe some future events for the story of Shield Hero, if that is indeed the case. But, anyways, thankfully, Naofumi was there, because if it was just, Risha that was there to try to save, Philo, poor little Philo would have been left behind, because Risha didn't even recognize Philo. It was like, oh, that's just a regular little hummingbird or whatever, just leave it behind, and it was obviously, Philo, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, that is absolutely cruel. Like, imagine if this was a darker story, and Naofumi was not there, and, Risha was in charge of trying to find Philo, and just walked away from Philo being locked in the cage. Like, imagine if the story went that direction, how dark this story would be if it did. I'd been like, holy crap, that's actually freaking dark. But, obviously, that didn't happen. But, another thing about Naofumi this episode did is it reintroduces his rage. Rage is bubbling and boiling within him. And we see even a showcasing of the, rage or Wrath Shield reappearing within this episode, and I feel like this is going to have huge significance for the plot of this season, because obviously at the end of the last arc it implied that, Naofumi's rage has been settled, quelled, and all that, but it's starting to bubble and boil back, because obviously being separated from Raftalia, her potentially being dead, being rung around the rosy continuously by individuals in this other world, to also just so many secrets and things he doesn't understand, there's just so much about it. So when you really take a moment to think about it, it's understandable why, Naofumi's rage is slowly bubbling inside. And so I can't wait to see exactly how he uses the Wrath Shield in the upcoming episodes, or if he will not need it at all. We'll have to see. But I'm glad to see it back, because one of the big complaints I think many of us potentially had was that Naofumi having, his wrath or his rage quelled to be almost non-existent. And that's not how rage or wrath really works. Rage and wrath can come back at any time. Anyone can get angry. Anyone can get upset. And so if you get enough anger within you, wrath will come out. And I feel like that's obviously what's happening to Naofumi. His anger, his rage is bubbling to a boiling point until he no longer will be able to contain it. Because obviously his limiter, which is Raphtalia, is not necessarily there. So that does need to be pointed out. Now, and on little details for this episode, though, we also get the introduction of Chris, which I think that, yeah, this penguin is named Chris, and I just wanted to share this forbidden knowledge with all of you, because it's very important. This penguin is called Chris. Like, okay, I legitimately laughed when that came out. I was just like, really? This penguin is called Chris? Okay, and then we have the little, like, raccoon or whatever that, Naofumi creates from Raphtalia called Raph. And so I can no longer call Raphtalia Raph for short anymore, because now it goes to the little raccoon Shikigami. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, this is going to be difficult. But, yeah, it's a very fun episode. I think it's a fun episode with some ominous tone building up. I think the art and animation quality is consistent. I don't think it's, like, the best, but it is consistent, and I think it's a great episode. But, once again, let's ask the question. Is Shield Hero Season 2 still hot garbage? That's up to everybody else to decide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But I'm going to wrap up this video here. As you can see, once again, I'm outside. It's a very peaceful, chill, relaxing day. Kind of sweating a little bit, honestly. It's hot today. It's like 90 degrees out here. It is hot. But, I need the sun. I like being outside. I've been really enjoying sitting outside and just being able to record these videos. As I've been saying in the comments and to all of you guys, it's very tranquil. Feels peaceful. And that's about it. But anyways, thank you so much for everyone that watched this video. As always, as I always say, thanks to you guys every single day watching my video, leaving a like, leaving a comment, whatever you may do. It brings a smile to my face. You guys are the reason I'm able to wake up every single day with joy in my life. It's because of all of you. But with that all out of the way, thank you so much, everybody. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.